According to the water cycle, all water is connected. When it rains or snows, that water is either absorbed into the ground, becoming groundwater, or it ends up in nearby streams and creeks, ultimately making its way to the ocean. The river that rainwater will eventually reach is its watershed. A watershed is defined as any surface area from which rainfall or snow is collected and drained through a common point. So, for example, if there's a stream near your library and that stream eventually flows to the New River, your library is in the New River watershed. When it rains or snows on buildings like your library, school, or house, the water that gathers and runs off of the roofs and parking lots of those buildings is actually called runoff. The hard surfaces of roofs and parking lots are impervious surfaces. An impervious surface is a surface that cannot be penetrated by water. Stormwater is excess surface water from heavy rain or snow. Oftentimes, runoff water from these heavy rain events gathers on impervious surfaces and can be polluted from things like cars, fertilizers, farm waste, pet waste, and so much more. This pollution is easily washed into our local streams, creeks, and rivers. This is a problem because polluted water can harm local animals and plants of all types, and it can harm us too. This stream exploration backpack kit provides materials and a step-by-step guide to checking your local streams for pollution by searching for and identifying benthic macroinvertebrates, which are small aquatic animals and the aquatic larval stages of some insects. Your kit also includes field guides to many of Virginia's creatures who rely on our freshwater resources, a microscope for checking out your discoveries up close, safety information, and a first aid kit just in case. Only around 3% of the world is made up of fresh water. Freshwater resources are necessary for the survival of all living things on Earth, and they are quite limited. Here in Appalachia, we are fortunate to have freshwater rivers and streams all around. With unique species of fish, mussels, aquatic plants, and more salamanders than anywhere else in the world, Appalachia's waters sustain some incredibly valuable freshwater ecosystems. Benthic macroinvertebrates serve a large and important role in these vital food webs. Benthic macroinvertebrates are small aquatic animals in the larval stages of insects. Larvae are young, wingless forms of insects that hatch from an egg. Think how caterpillars are the larval stage of a butterfly. These are the larvae of dragonflies, stoneflies, mayflies, and more, and they live in fresh water. Benthic macroinvertebrates can also include snails, worms, and beetles. They lack a backbone, are visible without the aid of a microscope, and are found in and around water bodies during some periods of their lives. Many macroinvertebrates eat leaf litter, helping to break down organic matter in rivers and streams, while others help to filter and clean water. They also serve as food for other animals, aquatic and terrestrial, including birds, fish, turtles, salamanders, and more. Benthic macroinvertebrates are often found attached to rocks, vegetation, logs, and sticks, or burrowed into the stream bottom within sand and sediments. The presence or absence of certain macroinvertebrates can help us understand how clean or polluted the water in a stream might be. This is because some can only live in clean water, while others are able to survive in waters that are somewhat polluted, and some can survive in waters that are heavily polluted. Next, our friends from the Virginia Tech Facilities Department will show us how to search for or sample macroinvertebrates step by step. Note that in this video, they are using slightly different equipment than what you have in your backpack. Your kit does not contain a table and includes a smaller net and cloth, but the activity can be performed the same way. Be sure to follow the laminated step-by-step instructions included in your backpack.
A watershed is any surface area from which runoff resulting from rainfall or snow is collected and drained through a common point. Basically, a watershed is whatever local river or waterway the rainwater that falls on your house, your school, your office will eventually end up in.
When choosing your sampling site, choose a spot that is easy to access and shallow so the water does not come up above your knees. Ideally, find a spot where the water flows over rocks, forming a ripple. Try to avoid areas where the water is moving very slowly.
Now it's time to set up your workspace. Set up the table and put out the tablecloth. Fill up the spray bottles with water from the stream. You'll need it for later. Make sure the lid is on tight. Fill up your trays with water from the stream too.
Next, set all of your materials out on the table to make sure you aren't missing anything. You should have a spray bottle, ice cube trays, and several tools for picking up and sorting the macroinvertebrates.
Now it's time to set up your net, which is very simple. Once you've done that, you and your partner are ready to do the stream assessment. One person will hold the net and the other will dig and hold the rocks. Macroinvertebrates live in the dirt. Remember, water should be flowing through the net, and don't put the water in your mouth.
The second person should pick up rocks one at a time in the riffle and scrub them in the water so anything on the rocks can be swept into the net. Scrub as many rocks as you can for 40 seconds. Lift the bottom of the net so you can carry it to your observation table.
When sorting through the macroinvertebrates, remember to keep them wet with the spray bottle or in the trays to keep the organisms alive.
A bunch of things will like hide on these. Okay. Yeah. So if they're wet, then they'll start moving.
Try to sort the same macroinvertebrates into the same containers in the trays to keep it organized and get an idea of what the most abundant organisms are. Try not to put too many in one container so that they don't get overcrowded or want to eat each other.
After you finish sorting the macroinvertebrates on one side of the mat, be sure to flip it over to search for more on the back. Once you have sorted from both sides of the mat, don't forget that there may be additional macroinvertebrates found on the tablecloth, so don't forget to check once you lift the mat.
By identifying what you found, you can determine the approximate health of the water. Some macroinvertebrates are sensitive and can only live in super healthy water. Some are in between, and some can live in just about anything. There is a pamphlet included in the kit that shows common macroinvertebrates to help you identify what you have found.
Now it's time for cleanup. Rinse off all of the equipment and pack everything back up. And remember to put the invertebrates back in the stream when you're done.
Have fun, and don't forget to leave the stream like you found it. Thank you for keeping our streams healthy.
And that's it. You're all set. Now get outside and find a stream to explore. Remember to review the safety tips in your backpack, always explore with a buddy, take extra safety precautions around water, and check the weather before you go. Thanks for watching and happy exploring.